Although there were many deaths in Peaky Blinders Season 6, none were as painful as Aunt Polly's. That being said, how did Polly die? Continue watching the video till the end to find out. The first time we see Polly Gray, played by Helen McCrory in the Peaky Blinders pilot, she's pointing a gun at her nephew John Shelby's head. He apparently left a loaded weapon lying around, and his younger brother Finn began to play with it. John, who has been struggling since his wife died, leaving him a single father, apologizes and vows never to do it again. Polly agrees to keep the incident private and pats him on the back before spitting out, "I know having 4 kids without a woman is hard, but my boot's harder." That's Polly, aka Aunt Paul, in a nutshell. She's the toughest member of the Peaky Blinders criminal gang and later Tommy Shelby's right-hand woman, doling out equal parts motherly advice and insults. Polly has been a driving force in the Shelby family's rise from street gang to criminal empire over the last 5 seasons. But just before the series' final season, McCrory, whose crackling, nuanced performance shaped a now iconic anti-heroine, died of cancer in 2021. Aunt Polly's character, in many ways, represents the countless women who have been forgotten by history. She's capable, ruthless, and ambitious, and she's frustrated by the cultural and economic constraints placed on women in her era. She is, however, not a fantastical unicorn. Women like Polly existed and thrived, and creator Stephen Knight emphasizes that having them at the center of the series was critical from the start. Having come from a working-class background and in Birmingham, the women run the show, Knight said. The idea that you'd have this environment where the women were completely subservient, nonsense. How did Aunt Polly die in the show? Unfortunately, the 6th and final season begins with the untimely death of the family matriarch, Polly Gray. Aunt Polly was killed off screen by the Irish Republican Army during the attempted assassination of Oswald Mosley in the Season 5 finale, according to the Season 6 premiere. Within the first 5 minutes, Tommy receives a phone call from IRA agent Laura Captain Swing McKee, who informs the crime boss that the IRA foiled his planned attack and killed 2 of his associates, Barney Thompson and Polly's fiancé, Aberama Gold. Before hanging up, she tells Tommy that Mosley must remain alive for some reason. Then a truck arrives at Tommy's house carrying 3 bodies wrapped in burial cloths. After revealing Barney and Aberama, Tommy removes the sheet from the 3rd body and sobs. The scene quickly shifts to Polly's funeral, where son Michael vows vengeance on Tommy for his role in Polly's death. Despite the fact that Polly's death is revealed early in the series, she remains an important part of Peaky Blinders. Michael and Tommy frequently speak to her in flashbacks throughout Season 6. Let's take a look back at some of Aunt Polly's most memorable moments from Peaky Blinders' 5 seasons. Polly's past is uncovered, Season 1, Episode 6. This early scene in the Season 1 finale between Polly and Ada sheds some light on the former's mysterious backstory. Polly tells Ada's newborn son Carl in his cradle how her own children were taken by the police when they were 2 and 5 years old after a neighbor tipped her off to illegal dealings. "They never told me where they took them," she cries, "and they did it because they could and because I was weak. They would never take your baby away from you. Do you know why? Because Tommy won't let them. Because Tommy won't let them walk all over us." The confession prompts Ada to forgive her brother, whom she believes was responsible for the imprisonment of her husband, Freddie, but it also sets up Polly's arc for the following season, in which she's finally reunited with her long-lost son Michael. It's a rare glimpse into the emotions that drive a woman who has had to develop a steely outer shell in order to survive in a cruel world for the viewers. Gray's Confrontation, Season 1, Episode 6. Polly goes to the Garrison Tavern to confront Grace about her betrayal of Tommy Shelby. Their exchange reveals Polly's ruthless side. If you cross her or her family, you might not live to regret it. Where a man might have resorted to violence, we women have more sense, Polly says. Before Polly lays out the facts, the two share a civilized drink and even a few laughs. She's aware of what Grace has done, and she will never ever forgive her, even if Tommy does. "He might forgive you," she says in a monologue that deploys McCrory's trademark quiet fierceness. "He might take you in. You can never tell with men. They go for whoever their dicks point at and there's no change in their minds. But I should tell you something. I'll never forgive you, or accept you, or take you in. And it's me who runs the business at the heart of this family. And as far as I'm concerned, you're a snitch from the parish, and if you're not gone from the city by tomorrow, I'll kill you myself." Grace may be Tommy's preferred romantic partner, but when it comes to business, Polly's the boss. Shooting Major Campbell, Season 2, Episode 6. Don't mess with Peaky Blinders. Polly finally exacts revenge on Major Campbell, who assaulted her earlier in the season when she came to ask him to release her son Michael from prison. Polly corners Campbell in a phone booth and coolly shoots him in the heart before primly walking back out, a red stain visible on her checkered suit, while Tommy's carrying out his plans at the Epsom Derby. It's a triumphant moment, but it's tinged with genuine pain. McCrory shows roughly 6,000 emotions on her face as she pulls the trigger, and her expression as she exits the phone booth could feel a novel. Nobody ever knows what Aunt Polly's thinking, which is what makes her so appealing. The Strike Walkout, Season 3, Episode 4. When Arthur's wife, Linda, arrives at the headquarters to assist the men, she mentions that union organizer Jesse Eden is organizing a walkout for female workers to protest for better working conditions and equal rights. Tired of being treated as second-class citizens even with their own families, the Peaky Blinders women decide to march alongside them, with Polly leading the way. "F it," she says, exhaling a cloud of cigarette smoke. "I'm not in the mood today." In the scene, McCrory's intention rather than the action is what stands out as being so remarkable. Peaky Blinders treats her like the slick gangster you typically see from actors like Robert De Niro in Goodfellas, as she slowly makes her way out into the street with sunglasses on, coat collar popped, and cigarette dangling from her lips. Polly is cunning and vicious, but she's most notable for being incredibly cool. Climbing Through Windows, Season 4, Episode 5. The fourth season begins with the most hopeless of circumstances. Michael, Arthur, Polly, and John are being led to their deaths. They're all found guilty of killing Chief Inspector Campbell and received hanging verdicts. However, Tommy succeeds in using some compromising information to threaten the king and his government, saving the four at the last minute. Polly leaves the Shelby company and goes her own way after the incident, but she returns to help after hearing about a gang conflict involving Luca Changretta. Later in the season, she tells Aberama Gold, a fellow gypsy hired by Tommy to aid in the conflict with Changretta, about her close call. When Polly explains that the news set her free, it was like putting your head through a window and seeing the whole world. "First I thought it was madness, but no," she adds. "When you put your head out of that window, you can do anything you want, because there are no rules, there are no risks." The two then make out after Polly threatens Gold with his own knife. For Polly, sex, violence, and freedom go hand in hand with each other, but she has finally met someone who respects and understands her for it. Polly Gray, Gypsy Queen, Will You Marry Me? Season 5, Episode 4. Because of the difficult life she's led, Aunt Polly is tough. She managed to survive losing her husband and children, raising her nephews like her own children, ran the family business by herself while they were at war, and handled countless hardships with grace. She merits a successful outcome. Since this is Peaky Blinders, nothing should be taken for granted. But near the end of Season 5, Polly experiences at least one genuine romantic moment. A very dapper Aberama Gold sneaks Polly away into the garden and proposes to her during a Swan Lake performance at the Shelby residence. Then he asks her to marry him. "Polly Gray, Gypsy Queen, will you marry me? A poor commoner who loves you." As Tommy guests watch the ballet, Polly accepts and the two share a heartfelt moment before celebrating in true Peaky Blinders fashion by having a quickie. Later, Polly ends the evening by preventing Linda from killing Arthur and saving the day. And that's all for today's video. Do let us know your thoughts on this video in the comments below. Want to know more things about the Peaky Blinders or Thomas Shelby? Please subscribe to our channel for more such exciting content and latest updates. See you in the next one.